The blue crystal being called Zafara moved her 6 arms quickly across the control panel. Her homeworld was made of living crystal, and her people talked through light patterns that danced across their bodies. Right now, those lights flashed, red with panic. "Show me the message again," she said to the computer in her musical voice. The hologram appeared in front of her. It showed a green-skinned alien with large, gentle eyes. His name was Elder Kethmore from the Viridian Union. Behind him, fires burned across a once beautiful city. Strange black ships filled the sky, dropping smaller creatures that moved like hungry insects. "Great beings of the Galactic Council," the Elder said, his voice shaking, "we are dying. The Korthak have taken 12 of our worlds in just 2 months. They do not want our resources or our land. They want to eat us, all of us." The image changed to show the Korthak. They looked like giant bugs mixed with nightmares. Each one was twice as tall as a human, with 6 legs, 4 arms, and teeth that never stopped growing. But the worst part was their eyes. They held no emotion, no mercy. They saw other living things as nothing more than food. "Our defense fleets are gone," Elder Kethmer continued. "Our armies cannot stop them. In 6 months, maybe less, every Viridian will be dead. We have children, families, entire worlds full of people who just want to live in peace. Please, someone help us." Zafara had watched this message 50 times. Each time she felt more helpless. The Galactic Council had rules about war. Most species preferred to talk and make deals. Fighting was usually the last choice, and even then it was controlled and civilized, but the Korthak did not follow any rules. They were a hive mind that had consumed 17 different species in the past 100 years. They bred by eating the brains of smart creatures. The more civilized their prey, the stronger their babies became. Zafara turned to her computer. "Search all member species. Find anyone who might help the Viridians against the Korthak." The computer made soft sounds as it worked. Searching 47 member species. Checking military strength, available forces, and location. Names and pictures flashed on the screen. The Altani were great builders but terrible fighters. The Zephyrians had strong ships but were busy with their own war. The Corvan Empire was powerful but too far away to help in time. "No suitable allies found," the computer said. "All available species lack sufficient military capability or are currently engaged in conflicts." Zafara felt her light patterns dim with sadness. How could she tell Elder Kethmer that no one could help? How could she watch an entire peaceful species die? "Wait," she said. "Expand search to include all contacted species. Include those not yet in the Council." "Searching all known species," the computer replied. "This includes species with limited contact." More names appeared. Some were too primitive to help. Others were too strange to communicate with properly. Then one entry made Zafara pause. Species designation: human, homeworld, Earth, Class 12 Deathworld, recent contact established. Military assessment: unknown but assumed significant due to survival on extreme hazard world. "Show me their file," Zafara said. The information was thin. Humans were new to space travel, having only developed faster-than-light flight in the past 50 years. Their world was listed as one of the most dangerous planets ever discovered. Massive storms, deadly animals, toxic plants, extreme weather, and violent geological activity, but they had not just survived, they had conquered their world completely. Every dangerous creature on Earth either served humans, feared them, or was extinct. The notes from the first contact team were interesting. Humans appear to consider warfare a natural state. Their entire history consists of constant conflict. They have weaponized every available resource and have an unusual approach to problem solving. Through applied violence, there was more. Humans show remarkable innovation in destructive technology. They have independently developed nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment, chemical warfare, biological weapons, and several other technologies we do not recognize. Note, their definition of excessive force appears to differ significantly from Council standards. Zafara felt hope for the first time in days. Maybe these Deathworlders could help. She activated the long-range communication array and sent the message toward Earth. 3 days later, the response came. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the EDF Valiant, a human warship orbiting Jupiter. He was tall and strong, with scars on his hands from years of military service. His crew called him the Hammer because he solved problems by hitting them hard. "Sir, we have an incoming transmission," said Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez, his tactical officer. She was young but smart, with quick eyes that missed nothing. "It's from something called the Galactic Council." "Put it on screen," Morrison said. The image of Zafara appeared, her crystal body glowing with nervous patterns. She spoke in her musical language, but the ship's computer translated her words. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Zafara of the Astari. We have received your information from our first contact teams. We reach out to you because innocent people are dying and we have nowhere else to turn." The message continued with the full recording from Elder Kethmer. Morrison watched the burning cities, the fleeing families, and the hungry Korthak hunters. His face grew harder with each image. "These creatures have destroyed 17 species," Zafara explained. "They reproduce by consuming the neural tissue of intelligent beings. They cannot be reasoned with, bought off, or scared away. They exist only to feed and breed. The Viridian Union will be extinct in 6 months unless someone stops the Korthak." The message showed star maps, fleet positions, and tactical data. The Korthak had over 300 ships and controlled 21 worlds. Their technology was biological, growing their ships and weapons instead of building them. "We know your species is young and your fleet is small," Zafara continued. "But you come from a death world. You understand survival. You understand fighting. Please, if you have any compassion, any sense of justice, help these peaceful people. They have no one else." Morrison looked at his crew. Amy was studying the tactical data with the focused expression she wore before a fight. Communications Officer Peter Shaw was already preparing response channels. Engineer Carlos Martinez was calculating flight times and fuel requirements. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "they're not asking for advisors or supplies. They want us to fight their war." Morrison stared at the holographic display showing burning Viridian cities. Children were crying in the wreckage. Families huddled in shelters while monsters prowled outside. "Amy, get me a channel to Earth Command. Priority Alpha." "Yes, sir. Channel open." Morrison straightened his uniform. "Earth Defense Command, this is Captain Morrison on the EDF Valiant. We have a situation that requires immediate attention. Sir, we just got asked to exterminate some bugs." The response came quickly. "Captain Morrison, this is Admiral Carter. Explain the situation." Morrison uploaded all the data. "Sir, we have hostile aliens killing civilians. They're basically space locusts that eat brains. A peaceful species is asking for our help." There was a long pause. Then Admiral Carter's voice came back, cold and professional. "Captain, how many ships do you estimate we'll need?" Morrison looked at Amy. She ran quick calculations on her console. "Admiral, they have 300 ships and 21 worlds." Morrison reported, "Understood. Return to Earth immediately. We're going to war." As the EDF Valiant turned toward home, Morrison looked back at the message from Zafara. The crystal alien had asked for help from Deathworlders. She was about to learn exactly what that meant. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council had never seen anything like this before. Representatives from 47 different species sat in the great crystal chamber, all staring at the same impossible numbers on their screens. Zafara's body flashed bright white with shock. "Computer, verify these readings again." "Verification complete," the computer responded. Human response confirmed. 200 warships, 50,000 ground troops, and supply vessels numbering in the hundreds. Estimated total force, largest military mobilization in recorded galactic history. Elder Kethmer from the Viridian Union could barely speak. His large green hands shook as he held the communication device. "They are sending all of this for us? We asked for help, but this is an entire invasion force." The Corvin representative, a being that looked like a walking tree, rustled his leaves nervously. Perhaps we misunderstood their intentions. No species mobilizes this level of force for humanitarian aid. Ambassador Thelanara from the peaceful Altany spoke up. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. Our first contact teams reported that humans consider warfare natural. Maybe this is normal for them. On Earth, the largest military operation in human history was taking shape. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in the command center of the Earth Defense Force headquarters. She was a woman who had fought in 3 different wars and never lost a battle. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and her blue eyes were the color of ice. "General Walsh, what's the status of our ground forces?" she asked. General Kevin Walsh looked up from his tactical display. He was a big man with rough hands and a face that had seen too many fights. "Admiral, we have 50,000 Marines ready for deployment. They're training for what we're calling pest control operations." "Pest control?" asked Colonel Janet Scott, the logistics officer. She was small but tough, with red hair and a mind that could track 1,000 different supply lines at once. "That's what this is," Walsh said simply. "We have a species that reproduces by eating other intelligent beings. They're parasites. We treat them like any other infestation. The training camps on Earth were busy day and night. Marines practiced with weapons that made the alien observers uncomfortable. Flamethrowers, explosive charges, chemical accelerants, and things that had no names in any alien language. Sergeant Tony Parker led his squad through urban combat drills. He was young but experienced, with quick reflexes and a talent for making his soldiers work as a team. Remember, these things are bugs, big, smart bugs, but still bugs. What do we do with bugs? Kill them all, sir, his squad shouted back. That's right, no prisoners, no negotiations, no mercy. They eat brains for breakfast, so we're going to make sure they starve. In the command ship EDF Liberty, Commander Ben Hayes was explaining human strategy to a group of very worried Viridian diplomats. Hayes was calm and professional, with a way of speaking that made terrible things sound reasonable. "You have to understand," he told the green-skinned aliens, "humans don't fight defensive wars. We don't push back invaders and hope they go away. We fight to make sure the problem never happens again." Elder Morthic, one of the Viridian military leaders, shifted uncomfortably. "What exactly does that mean, Commander Hayes?" "It means we're going to hunt down every single Korthek ship, every breeding ground, every nest, and every egg. When we're done, the word Korthek will only exist in history books." The Viridians looked at each other with growing concern. They had asked for protection? Not extinction. Dr. Claire Abbott worked in the research labs of the EDF Liberty, studying every piece of information about the Korthek that the aliens had provided. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life forms. She had short brown hair and wore thick glasses that made her look younger than her 40 years. What she found made her stomach turn. "Admiral Carter," she said over the communication system, "I need to brief you and the command staff immediately. What I've discovered about Korthek biology is worse than we thought." An hour later, the senior officers gathered in the briefing room. Dr. Abbott brought up images of Korthek anatomy on the main screen. "The Korthek reproductive cycle requires the consumption of neural tissue from intelligent species," she explained. "But it's not just food? The neural patterns of their victims actually influence the development of their offspring." Captain Steve Parker, the Admiral's son and commander of the destroyer EDF Hammer, leaned forward. "What does that mean in practical terms, Doc?" "It means the smarter their prey, the smarter their children become. They've been getting more intelligent with each species they consume. If they finish eating the Viridians, the next generation of Korthek will be significantly more dangerous than the current one." General Walsh's expression grew darker. "So we're not just saving the Viridians. We're preventing these things from evolving into something worse." "Exactly," Dr. Abbott said. "And there's more. Their entire social structure is based on consumption. They can't stop hunting intelligent life any more than a shark can stop swimming. It's what they are." Admiral Carter stood up slowly. Doctor, in your professional opinion, is there any possibility of coexistence with this species? Dr. Abbott shook her head. None whatsoever. They are biologically programmed to consume all intelligent life they encounter. Negotiation is impossible because they literally cannot comprehend the concept of letting prey live. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Admiral Carter spoke again. Gentlemen, ladies, we are not going to war. We are going on an extermination mission. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, new information was arriving that made everyone nervous. The human fleet was not just large, it was armed with weapons that didn't match anything in their databases. Computer, identify these weapon signatures, Zafara commanded, unable to identify. Energy patterns do not match any known technology. Recommend extreme caution. The Corvin representatives' leaves were rustling constantly now, a sign of deep fear. What have we done? We asked Deathworlders for help with a military problem. Ambassador Thelanora Eschime sounded worried. Perhaps we should contact them and suggest a more measured response. Zafara was about to agree when Elder Kethmer spoke up. No, my people are dying every day. Every hour we delay, more Viridian children become food for those monsters. If the humans can stop the Korthak, then let them come with their entire fleet. A new message arrived from the human fleet. Admiral Carter's face appeared on screen. She looked like someone who had seen war and was not impressed by it. Galactic Council. This is Admiral Carter commanding the Human Expeditionary Force. We have reviewed all available data on the Korthak threat. Our analysis indicates that half measures will result in continued civilian casualties and eventual mission failure. The Admiral paused, her cold blue eyes looking directly at the camera. Therefore, we are implementing what humans call total war doctrine. We will accept nothing less than complete elimination of the Korthak species. We expect to arrive in Viridian space in 6 days. Carter out. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Elder Kethmer's voice was barely a whisper. Complete elimination? They plan to make the Korthak extinct? Zafara's crystal body dimmed with worry. I think we may have made a terrible mistake. We asked for protection from monsters. Instead, we may have summoned bigger monsters. The Corven representatives' leaves had stopped rustling entirely. What happens after they finish with the Korthak? What happens when the humans decide someone else is a threat? No one had an answer. But across the galaxy, the largest human war fleet ever assembled was approaching Viridian space, and everyone was about to learn what Deathworlders considered an appropriate response to a threat. The Korthak attack fleet had surrounded the last 3 Viridian worlds like hungry wolves, circling wounded prey. 300 black ships hung in space above the green planets, their organic hulls pulsing with alien life. For weeks, they had been dropping soldiers onto the surface, harvesting the peaceful green-skinned people for their breeding cycles. Elder Kethmer stood in the command center of the orbital defense station above his homeworld. Through the windows, he could see the Korthak ships getting closer every hour. His people were losing this war badly. Sir, we have incoming ships on long-range sensors, reported Commander Veltar, a young Viridian with hope still in his large eyes. It's the human fleet. How many ships? Elder Kethmer asked. 200? No, wait, more contacts appearing. Sir, there are almost 400 human vessels approaching our system. Elder Kethmer felt relief wash over him. Finally, help had arrived. He opened communication channels to coordinate with the human forces for a defensive strategy. What happened next shocked everyone. Admiral Carter's voice came over the communication system, cold and professional. Viridian forces, this is Admiral Carter of the Human Expeditionary Force. We are beginning offensive operations immediately. All Viridian ships move to safe distance. Do not interfere with our attack. Attack? Elder Kethmer said. But Admiral, shouldn't we coordinate our defensive positions first? We don't do defensive, Admiral Carter replied. Carter out. Captain Steve Parker commanded the destroyer EDF Hammer at the front of the human fleet. He was Admiral Carter's son, but he had earned his position through skill, not family connections. His ship was smaller than the massive Korthek vessels, but it carried weapons that the aliens had never seen before. "Target their supply convoy," Parker ordered his weapons officer, Lieutenant Dan Miller. "Hit them with kinetic bombardment." Kinetic. "Rounds away, sir," Miller reported. The Korthek had never experienced kinetic warfare. Their ships were designed to get close and board enemy vessels. They used biological weapons and relied on fear to win battles. They were not prepared for humans who preferred to kill their enemies from very far away. The kinetic rounds hit the Korthek supply ships at incredible speed. The metal projectiles, moving faster than bullets, punched through the organic hulls like they were made of paper. 3 massive Korthek ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The Korthek hive mind was confused. These new ships were attacking from a distance that should have been safe. Their organic weapons could not reach the human vessels, but the human weapons were destroying them easily. "Sir, the bugs are trying to close distance," reported Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez from the EDF Valiant. "They're moving toward us in attack." "Formation," Captain Jake Morrison smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Let them come. All ships, engage with primary weapons. Show these things what real firepower looks like." The human fleet opened fire with everything they had. Laser cannons, plasma, torpedoes, railguns, and missile systems that the Galactic Council had never seen before. The space between the fleets lit up like a deadly fireworks show. The Korthek organic ships started dying by the dozens. Their living hulls, which could heal from small damage, were being completely destroyed by the massive weapons. Some ships simply vanished in clouds of superheated gas down on the planet's surface. Sergeant Maria Santos led her Marine squad through the occupied city of Valthara. She was tough and smart, with the kind of experience that only came from fighting on Deathworlds. Her soldiers moved through the streets with the confidence of predators hunting prey. "Contact front," called out Corporal Billy Davis, pointing to a group of Korthek soldiers feeding on captured Viridians. The aliens were twice as tall as humans, with 4 arms and teeth like razor blades. "Flamethrowers up," Santos ordered. "Burn them out." The Korthek had never faced enemies who used fire as a weapon. Their organic bodies were vulnerable to extreme heat, but they had never encountered a species that would deliberately set everything on fire to win a battle. The Marines attacked with controlled fury. Flamethrowers cleared the aliens from buildings while explosive charges brought down their organic nests. The Korthek tried to use their fear tactics, making horrible sounds and showing their teeth. The humans ignored them completely and kept killing. "Sergeant, we have civilian survivors in the next building," reported Private Sue Jackson. "Davis, Miller, get those people to safety," Santos ordered. "Everyone else, keep burning these bugs." Out, no survivors, no mercy. The Korthek soldiers on the ground were learning what the ships in space had already discovered. These humans did not fight like other species. They did not try to minimize damage or avoid casualties. They fought to kill everything that threatened them. Colonel Ryan Bell watched the battle from his command ship and nodded with satisfaction. His tactical doctrine was simple and effective. Find the enemy, fix them in place, and finish them completely. No half measures, no partial victories. "Sir, Korthek ships are beginning to retreat," reported his intelligence officer, Major Lisa Green. Bell was surprised. In all the reports about the Korthek, no one had ever mentioned them retreating from anything. "Confirm that report." "Confirmed, sir. Multiple Korthek vessels are breaking off and heading for hyperspace jump points." Bell opened a channel to all human forces. "All units, this is Colonel Bell. Do not let any enemy ships escape. Hunt them down and destroy them. We didn't come here to win a battle. We came here to solve a problem." The human ships that had been holding back in reserve suddenly moved forward at incredible speed. Fast attack craft and interceptors raced after the fleeing Korthek vessels. The aliens had never experienced an enemy that would chase them across. Star Systems. Elder Kethmar watched from his orbital station in complete amazement. In less than 6 hours, the humans had destroyed half of the Korthek fleet. The aliens that had been unstoppable for months were now running away like frightened animals. "Commander Veltar, are you seeing this?" he asked. "Yes, sir." The humans are pursuing individual Korthek ships. They're not stopping the attack. On the surface of Velthara, the human marines had cleared an entire city district. The Korthek nests were burning, their organic structures turning to ash in the flames. Sergeant Santos led her squad through the smoke, checking for any enemies that might still be alive. "Sergeant, look at this," called Corporal Davis. He was standing over a Korthek soldier that had been cut in half by railgun fire. "These things are tough, but they die just like anything else." Santos nodded. Command was right. They're just bugs. Big, ugly, smart bugs, but still bugs. The battle continued for 12 more hours. The humans did not stop to rest or regroup. They kept attacking until every Korthek ship was destroyed or had fled the system. When it was over, the space around the Viridian worlds was filled with debris from alien vessels. Admiral Carter's final report was simple. Viridian system secured. Enemy forces eliminated or dispersed, no human casualties. Ready to pursue fleeing. Contacts, Elder Kethmer tried to understand what had just happened. His people had been fighting the Korthek for months and losing badly. The humans had arrived and completely destroyed the alien fleet in one day. "Commander Veltar, send a message to the Galactic Council," he said. "Tell them the humans have saved us." "What else should I tell them, sir?" Elder Kethmer looked out at the burning wreckage of the Korthek fleet. "Tell them that Deathworlders do not fight wars the way we expected. Tell them that when humans decide to help, they help by making the problem disappear forever." As the human fleet prepared to leave the system in pursuit of the remaining Korthek forces, the Viridians realized something important. They had asked for protection from monsters. Instead, they had discovered that sometimes the best way to deal with monsters was to find bigger, meaner monsters and point them at your enemies. The Korthek hive mind was experiencing something it had never felt before: fear. For the first time in their species' history, they were the ones being hunted. And the creatures hunting them showed no mercy, no hesitation, and no intention of stopping until every Korthek in the galaxy was dead. The Galactic Council chamber was quiet except for the soft humming of computers processing battle reports. What they were reading made no sense to any of them. "Computer, verify these tracking reports again," Zafara said, her crystal body flickering. With confused patterns, verification complete. Human forces have pursued Korthek vessels across 3 star systems. Current pursuit range, 400 light-years from original battle zone. Ambassador Thelanara Eschime sounded worried. "They are still chasing them, but the Viridian worlds are safe. Why don't they stop?" The Corvan representative rustled his leaves nervously. "Because they are not fighting a war. They are conducting an extermination." Elder Kethmer from the Viridian Union looked tired but grateful. His people were free, but he was starting to understand that the humans had their own ideas about what victory meant. Captain Nicole Foster commanded the Fast Attack Group EDF Wolfpack. Her job was to hunt down fleeing Korthek ships and make sure none of them escaped to breed again. She was small and quick, with sharp eyes that missed nothing and a mind that thought 3 steps ahead of her enemies. "Contact ahead," reported her navigator, Lieutenant Paul Murphy. 2 Korthek vessels attempting to reach hyperspace jump point. "Intercept. Course, maximum speed," Foster ordered. "We're not letting these bugs get away to start the problem somewhere else." The EDF Razor and EDF Hunter moved like sharks through space, their engines pushing them faster than the organic Korthek ships could travel. The aliens had been built for intimidation and boarding actions, not for running away from determined predators. "Weapons range in 30 seconds, called out Weapons Officer Lieutenant Jane Cooper. "Target their engines first," Foster said. "I want them alive long enough to tell us where their main nest is." The human ships opened fire with precise shots that crippled the Korthek vessels without destroying them. The aliens found themselves trapped in space, unable to escape and unable to fight back effectively. "Sir, we're receiving surrender signals." "From the lead ship," reported Communications Officer Ensign Mark Davis. Foster's expression didn't change. "We don't take prisoners, finish them." The Korthek ships exploded in bright flashes. Foster was already turning toward the next contact on her sensors. Her philosophy was simple. You don't win wars by dying for your cause. You win by making sure every single enemy dies for theirs. Major Alex Turner led the specialized assault teams that cleared Korthak hive ships. These were the massive vessels where the aliens bred and raised their young. Turner's job was to go inside these ships and make sure nothing came out alive. Turner was a big man with steady hands and nerves that never broke under pressure. His soldiers called him the Cleaner because he left no mess behind, just empty, sterile ships. Boarding Team Alpha, prepare for entry, he spoke into his communication device. Remember, these ships are full of eggs and breeding chambers. We use incendiary charges for everything. The human soldiers moved through the organic corridors of the Korthak ship wearing full armor and carrying weapons designed specifically for this job. Dr. Sam Mitchell, the fleet's combat engineer, had created new tools just for fighting the Korthak. Sir, large chamber ahead, reported Sergeant Bob Wilson. Looks like a nursery. Turner looked through the doorway and saw hundreds of egg sacs hanging from the ceiling. Inside each one, a baby Korthak was growing, waiting to be born so it could start eating intelligent creatures. Fire team, burn it all, Turner ordered. Every egg, every chamber, every piece of organic matter, nothing survives. The soldiers worked with the efficiency of exterminators cleaning out a pest infestation. Chemical accelerants and incendiary charges turned the breeding chambers into infernos. The Korthak tried to fight back, but they had never faced enemies who brought fire into their most sacred spaces. Back on the EDF Liberty, Dr. Sam Mitchell was creating new weapons in his laboratory. He was a thin man with wild hair and the kind of mind that could turn anything into a weapon. His latest creations were specifically designed to target Korthak biology. Admiral, I've completed the neural disruptor testing, he reported to Admiral Carter. These devices specifically target the Korthak hive mind connection. When exposed to the frequency, they lose coordination and become easy targets. Admiral Carter examined the weapon design. How effective is it? In testing, it reduced a group of 50 Korthak soldiers to confused individuals in less than 10 seconds. Without their hive mind, they're just big, stupid bugs. Mass-produce them. I want every Marine unit equipped with these within the week. Doctor? Mitchell grinned. Already working on it, Admiral. I'm also developing something I call bioacid rounds. They're designed to eat through Korthak organic armor in seconds. The Admiral nodded approvingly. Doctor, you have a talent for creative destruction. Thank you, sir. I consider that a compliment. The pursuit continued across the galaxy. Captain Tony Miller led deep space reconnaissance missions to hunt down every remaining Korthak ship and outpost. His specialty was finding enemies who thought they were hidden and making them realize they were wrong. Sir, we've located another nest, reported his intelligence officer, Lieutenant Carol Brown. Small asteroid colony, maybe 200 Korthak, including breeding females. Miller studied the tactical display. Distance from nearest inhabited. System? 47 light-years? No immediate threat to anyone. Doesn't matter. They're Korthak, which means they're a future threat to someone. Plot an attack course. This was the part that was starting to worry the Galactic Council. The humans weren't just defending the Viridians anymore. They were systematically hunting down every Korthak in the known galaxy, even ones that posed no immediate danger to anyone. Ambassador Thalara from the peaceful Viridians sent a careful message to Admiral Carter. Admiral, we are grateful for your help, but perhaps some of the remaining Korthak could be contained rather than destroyed? Admiral Carter's response was immediate and cold. Ambassador, you asked us to solve a problem. We solve problems by removing them completely. Half measures just mean the problem comes back later, usually worse than before. But surely some form of containment has never worked against any species that reproduces by consuming intelligent life. We've studied your histories. Every time someone tried to contain the Korthak, they broke free and killed more people. We're making sure that doesn't happen. The human fleet had split into hunting groups that covered 6 different star systems. Each group operated independently, tracking down fleeing Korthak vessels and destroying them without mercy. No quarter was asked for, and none was given. Commander Julie Barnes kept detailed records of every engagement. Her job was to make sure no Korthak ships escaped the net. She was methodical and careful, with a memory that stored every detail of the campaign. "Admiral, current status report," she announced during the daily briefing. 87 Korthak vessels destroyed in the last 24 hours. Estimated remaining enemy strength, less than 30 ships across all known territories. Any signs of organized resistance? Admiral Carter asked. "No, sir. They're running in random directions now. The hive mind appears to be breaking down under the pressure. Intelligence suggests they're experiencing something they've never felt before." "Which is?" "Fear, sir. For the first time in their species' history, they're the ones being hunted." The Galactic Council received daily reports that made them more nervous with each passing day. The humans were not just winning the war, they were rewriting the rules of what war meant. "They hunt individual ships across multiple star systems," Zafara reported to the emergency session. "They pursue enemies who pose no immediate threat. They refuse all surrender attempts. And they show no signs of stopping until every Korthak in the galaxy is dead." The Korvan representative spoke quietly. "We asked Deathworlders to help us with a military problem. I think we may have created a bigger problem." Elder Kethmer defended the humans. "They are saving innocent lives. Every Korthak they kill is a threat that cannot harm anyone else. But what happens when they finish with the Korthak?" asked Ambassador Thelanara. "What happens when they decide someone else is a threat to galactic peace?" No one had an answer to that question. But across the galaxy, human forces continued their relentless hunt, determined to make sure that the word Korthak would soon exist only in history books. The final Korthak stronghold was a world that had no name in any galactic database. The aliens called it the Breeding Heart, a planet where they had been raising their young for over 1,000 years. It was covered in organic cities that pulsed like living organs, connected by rivers of biological matter that fed the massive hive complexes. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge of the EDF Liberty, looking at the tactical display that showed the planet below. After 3 months of hunting across the galaxy, this was the last place where Korthak existed in large numbers. "General Walsh, what's the status of our ground forces?" she asked. General Walsh looked up from his preparations. His face was hard with determination. "Admiral, we have 30,000 Marines ready for the final assault. Every unit is equipped with Dr. Mitchell's new bioweapons and incendiary gear." "How long do you estimate for complete planetary clearance?" Walsh checked his calculations one more time. 48 hours, ma'am. We're not leaving anything alive down there." The orbital bombardment began at dawn. Human ships fired kinetic rounds and plasma charges at the largest hive complexes, turning the organic cities into burning craters. The weapons were so powerful that they could be seen from space as bright flashes of light across the planet's surface. Captain Steve Parker led the first wave of ground assault from his command ship. "All units, this is Hammer 1. Remember your training. This is pest control on a planetary scale. We burn everything that moves and everything that doesn't." The Marines dropped from orbit in armored pods that slammed into the planet like meteors. Sergeant Maria Santos led her squad out of their pod and immediately began setting up a perimeter. The air around them was thick with smoke and the smell of burning alien matter. "Movement 2 o'clock, called out Corporal Billy Davis, pointing his weapon at a group of Korthak workers fleeing from a burning hive complex. "Light them up," Santos ordered. The squad opened fire with their new bioacid rounds. The ammunition had been specifically designed by Dr. Mitchell to dissolve Korthak biological armor. The fleeing aliens collapsed within seconds, their bodies unable to survive the chemical attack. Major Alex Turner's assault teams were working through the underground breeding chambers. These were the deepest parts of the hive complexes, where the Korthak queens had been laying eggs for centuries. "Sir, massive chamber ahead," reported Sergeant Bob Wilson. "Looks like the main nursery." Turner looked into a cavern that stretched for miles in every direction. The ceiling was covered with millions of egg sacs, each one containing a developing Korthek. The sight was overwhelming, like looking at a factory that produced nightmares. "Incendiary teams forward," Turner commanded. "We're going to sterilize this entire complex." The soldiers worked with methodical efficiency. Chemical accelerants were placed throughout the chamber while flame units prepared to ignite everything at once. Turner watched the preparations with satisfaction. Soon, millions of potential Korthek would never have the chance to eat anyone. Fire teams execute. The nursery became an inferno that could be seen from orbit. Millions of eggs and developing aliens were reduced to ash in minutes. The organic walls of the chamber began to collapse as the biological support structures burned away. Dr. Sam Mitchell worked from the science ship EDF Discovery, monitoring the effectiveness of his weapons. He had created tools specifically designed to end the Korthek species forever. "Admiral, the bioacid is working perfectly," he reported. "Korthek biological matter is completely vulnerable to our chemical compounds. We're also seeing excellent results from the neural disruptors." "Any signs of adaptation or resistance?" Admiral Carter asked. "None, sir. Their biology is too specialized. They evolved to hunt other species, not to defend against systematic extermination." The battle continued for exactly 46 hours. The human forces moved across the planet like a cleansing fire, destroying every hive complex, every breeding chamber, and every individual Korthek they encountered. When they were finished, the planet was nothing but burned rock and ash. Commander Julie Barnes filed the final report. "Admiral, planetary sterilization complete. No Korthek life signs detected. Estimated enemy casualties, approximately 50 million individuals, including all breeding females and nursery complexes." Admiral Carter nodded. "And our casualties?" 17 injured, none killed. Total mission casualties for the entire campaign: 0 deaths, 43 wounded. The numbers were staggering. The humans had eliminated an entire species that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, and they had done it without losing a single soldier. Captain Tony Miller led the final deep space sweeps to hunt down any remaining Korthek ships that might have escaped. His reconnaissance team spent 2 more weeks, searching every asteroid field and abandoned system within 100 light-years of known Korthek territory. "Admiral, final sweep complete," Miller reported. "No Korthek contacts detected anywhere. We've checked every possible hiding place twice." Admiral Carter opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. "All units, this is Admiral Carter. Mission accomplished. The Korthek threat has been permanently eliminated." The celebration on the human ships was quiet and professional. They had done their job, but there was no joy in exterminating an entire species, even one as dangerous as the Korthek. They were soldiers, not monsters. The Galactic Council received the final report with mixed feelings. The threat that had consumed 17 species over the past century was gone forever, but the implications of human military capability were troubling. Zafara read the statistics again. "Computer, confirm these numbers." 0 human deaths complete. Elimination of enemy species. Total mission time 3 months and 4 days. Confirmed. Human forces achieved total victory with minimal casualties. Elder Kethmer from the Viridian Union sent a message of gratitude to Admiral Carter. "Admiral, how can we possibly repay you for what you have done? You have saved not just our species, but countless others who would have fallen to the Korthek." Admiral Carter's response was simple. "Elder Kethmer, we don't want payment. We did what we came to do. The problem is solved, but surely there is something we can offer. Territory, resources, technology. We appreciate the offer, but we have everything we need. Just remember that Earth is willing to help when peaceful species are threatened by those who would consume them." The Viridians offered trade agreements, territorial concessions, and advanced technology. The humans politely declined everything except one simple request: better communication networks so they could respond faster if another threat emerged. The Galactic Council updated their files on humanity. The new entry was written by Zafara herself. Feces, human, homeworld, Earth, Class 12 Deathworld. Military assessment, Extreme caution advised. Humans have demonstrated the ability to completely eliminate galaxy-level threats with minimal casualties to their own forces. Their approach to warfare differs significantly from all known species standards. She paused, then added a personal note. When asked what they needed to solve the Korthic problem, humans said protection for innocent civilians. When asked what they accomplished, the answer was total extinction of the threat. Recommend avoiding conflict with humans under all circumstances. Also recommend contacting humans immediately if faced with any threat to intelligent life. The final line of the report was added later, after the Council had time to fully understand what had happened. Humans do not fight wars. They solve problems, permanently. Captain Jake Morrison returned to Earth with his crew 6 months later. As the EDF Valiant entered Earth orbit, he looked back toward the direction of Viridian space. Somewhere out there, peaceful, green-skinned. People were living safe lives because humans had decided to help. "Sir, Earth Control is requesting our mission report," said Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez. Morrison smiled. "Tell them mission accomplished. The pest problem has been resolved." As news of the human victory spread through the galaxy, something interesting happened. Several species that had been considering aggressive expansion suddenly became very interested in peaceful diplomacy. The word spread quickly. There was a species from a death world that would completely eliminate any threat to innocent life. The galaxy had become a safer place. Not because of laws or treaties or diplomatic agreements, but because everyone now knew that somewhere out there, the humans were watching. And if you threatened peaceful species, they would come for you with overwhelming force and no mercy. The Korthak had asked for nothing more than the right to consume intelligent life. The galaxy had asked for protection from that threat. The humans had delivered extinction instead of protection, because they understood something that other species did not. Sometimes, the only way to truly protect innocent life is to make sure that the threats to that life no longer exist.